What's up guys, welcome to another range day. Today we're going to be shooting a modernized tactical pair, the Smith and Wesson 327 TRR8 Revolver and the 1854 Stealth Hunter lever action rifle, both of which are chambered in 357 Magnum and 38 Special. Now for the past few years, I've focused primarily on semi-automatic firearms on my channel, but I'm also a huge fan of the tactile and visceral feel of manually cycling the action while shooting. I tend to think of it much like a manual transmission in a car. It's a very engaging experience. Bolt action, pump action, and lever action rifles and shotguns, or single and double action revolvers for example, all provide that additional level of engagement that makes them stand out from semi-autos when I bring them down to the range. And that's also one of the reasons I'm such a fan of AK and MP5 style platforms, which require more manipulation of the firearm when you're running them. It just adds a lot of character and excitement for me. So for this video, I want to highlight a modern version of the famous tactical pair, which is having a rifle and sidearm chambered in the same caliber, which in this case is 357 Magnum, my favorite caliber for revolvers and lever actions. It's powerful enough to be effective and feel exciting at the range, while also being cost-effective enough to shoot somewhat frequently. I've been seeing a lot of modernized lever actions and revolvers in recent years with modern rails and optics, and I wanted to try them out for myself. Now, although 357 Magnum is a powerful and incredibly effective round, and both of these firearms could be an excellent choice for serious or practical use cases like self-defense or hunting, for me personally, these guns have really been set up to be range toys, and very fun ones at that. So that's the lens that I'm going to be reviewing these guns through today. Now, as a full disclosure here, I did reach out to several companies for partnerships on this video. No money was exchanged. All of the views and opinions that you're going to hear today are my own, but many of the products we'll be discussing today were provided to the channel for free in exchange for a fair and honest review, which is exactly what we're going to do here today. So the 1854 lever action and the TRR8 Revolver were provided by Smith and Wesson. The Handguard stock and ammo quivers were provided by Midwest Industries. The LPVO optic and hand stop were provided by Primary Arms. And the suppressor was provided by Otter Labs. I really appreciate these companies' support in helping make this video a reality. Now, as one last quick piece of housekeeping here, several of my viewers have been asking for a way that they can support the channel. And first off, thank you. That actually means a lot to me, and I really do appreciate it. So I've put together a campsite page, which you can find linked in my bio and the descriptions of my videos, where I'll be placing affiliate links and discount codes. These links won't cost you anything at all to use, but they do help out the channel a lot, and I truly appreciate your support. Now with that out of the way, let's get into the details of this modern tactical pair, starting with the Smith & Wesson 1854 Stealth Hunter lever action rifle. So this gun is actually pretty nicely appointed right out of the factory. It comes equipped with a very comfortable and functional M-LOK rail, a traditional synthetic stock, and some pretty nice fiber optic iron sights. The lever action itself was pretty smooth right out of the box, but it's gotten a lot smoother after putting several hundred rounds downrange. And the trigger is pretty good. When I first got it, there was a little bit of creep right before the break, but it's smoothed out completely now and has a very clean break. It's a little bit of a heavier trigger than in my Marlin lever action, but under live fire, it really didn't give me any issues at all. It felt great. Now the loading gate is a bit smoother and easier to load than my Marlin, and overall, the rifle shoots very well with great accuracy and handling. Most of the 357 Magnum and 38 Special ammo that I tried cycled really smoothly and ran great. Now the one issue that I did have was with a specific brand of ammo from New Republic, which was actually kind of a bummer because it's way cheaper than any of the other competing brands, and so I really wanted it to work. The price does sort of make sense though when considering the issues that I had with it. I don't think the casings are very consistently sized. Even in the TRR8 Revolver, they would sometimes get a little bit stuck after ejecting spent casings and wouldn't always load super smoothly either, but they did fire without issue there. That said, in the lever action, I did manage to run a couple hundred rounds of this ammo through it, but a lot of the time the lever would kind of get hung up a little bit while cycling, or even get completely stuck to the point of requiring various interventions to clear. Now this is not completely uncommon honestly. For a lot of lever and bolt action rifles, it's important to find ammo that your gun likes and cycles well. Now for the 1854, this New Republic ammo is not it. The worst malfunction that I had actually completely ended the first range day. I had to cut the day short and go home early because I couldn't get any ammo to cycle in the rifle at all. So I took it home and did a thorough teardown and investigation, and it turned out that the copper jacketing from one of the New Republic bullets had sheared off in the chamber, completely preventing a new round from seating. I have never seen anything like this, guys. It was absolutely wild to me. So while I do absolutely love the Smith and Wesson 1854 rifle, I would not recommend using New Republic ammo in it, and honestly, I might just not recommend New Republic ammo in general at this point. When I went back out for my second filming session, I used 4 other ammo types including Blazer, Gecko, Remington, and PPU, and they all ran great. I absolutely love this rifle. It's so smooth shooting and fun to run. And a lot of that actually comes from the accessories that I've added, so let's talk about those. So the Midwest Industries stock and handguard are awesome. The installation of both was super easy and they came with very good instructions. The build quality and fitment is excellent and I love the aesthetic here, especially the skeletonized stock. This stock is super comfortable on the shoulder with the adjustable cheek riser being perfect for lining your dominant eye up with the optic. The pistol grip is very comfortable and ergonomic, and they offer G10 panels for them as well, which can add some additional grip texture if you want it. The quiver on the stock looks fantastic and gives you a lot of spare ammo, and I absolutely love the 4 QD sling point attachments provided here. It makes running my Savvy Sniper sling just as easy as it is with my ARs. Now, I will say that the stock is pretty heavy, which is somewhat of a theme with this setup, but it does actually balance very well, and the heavy stock is definitely a key part of that equation. Now, the M-LOK handguard is super ergonomic. It's got a very comfortable feel with a ton of real estate for lights, lasers, and other goodies that you might want to attach to the M-LOK or Picatinny rails. I actually threw a Holosun visible green laser on the front of the pick rail for some shots, and it was a lot of fun. I put this Slate Black Industries hand stop from Primary Arms on the bottom rail, and it worked great. It's got a super minimal design with almost no added weight, and it made a great indexing point for my support hand. The 2-round M-LOK quiver was a blast to run as sort of a match saver for reloads, and the retention on all of the quivers on this rifle were perfect throughout my sessions. Aesthetically, I think this handguard looks excellent. Even little touches like the brass set screws that give a little pop of color are awesome here. It's just a very clean and exciting aesthetic for me. And I'm a big fan of the full-length rail extending all the way to the end of the mag tube and front sight as well. It just looks great. And obviously it doesn't hurt that this handguard was seen in John Wick 4 on the rifle used by the tracker either, so that does kind of add a little bit of cool factor for me personally. On top, I've got the Primary Arms ACSS Nova 1-to-6x LPVO, and I'm actually super impressed with this thing. I've owned several Primary Arms ACSS LPVOs over the years, but this is the clearest glass that I've seen from them so far. The etched cross-style reticle is very simple, clean, and effective, and the red dot is insanely bright. It is just as bright as most red dots that I've used, and really clear too. All of the controls on the scope are nice and tactile, and I really appreciate being able to adjust the focus ring for my old eyes. The cantilever mount was really helpful in getting the right eye relief for my stance, and it's held zero consistently for several hundred rounds. Lastly, let's talk about the Lithium Suppressor from Otter Labs. One of the biggest draws for a lot of people with 357 Magnum lever-action rifles is that if they happen to have a threaded barrel like the Smith and Wesson 1854 Stealth Hunter has, you have the opportunity to attach a suppressor and enjoy the sublime experience of suppressed 38 Special. Now, much like 45 ACP, 38 Special ammunition is naturally subsonic, especially in heavier grains like 158, and since there's no additional sound from a semi-automatic action cycling, it has a reputation for being a very quiet combination with the right suppressor. Now, I have a lot of great suppressors. Some of my 9mm suppressors that would potentially work well with 38 Special include the Silencer Co. Omega 9K, the Dead Air Wolfman, and the Cat Mob. But I kept seeing people recommend the Otter Labs Lithium on Reddit, saying it was one of the best suppressors they'd heard on lever actions in 38 Special. Now that definitely piqued my interest, and I'd actually never tried a suppressor from Otter Labs before. So although I really didn't need another suppressor, I decided to reach out to Otter Labs and see if they wanted to send me a lithium suppressor for this video so that I could provide a detailed review with audio samples, and they were kind enough to oblige. And I've got to say, guys, these people were not joking. The lithium sounds incredible on this gun. It's got a really pleasing and deep tone that is fully comfortable without ear protection. So let's see how it sounds along with some velocity testing of 357 versus 38 Special out of this 16.5-inch barrel. It sounds amazing, guys. This thing is super quiet with an excellent tone. On top of that, its titanium construction actually makes it lighter than the Omega 9K with its Resilient Suppressor's tri-lug adapter, despite being about an inch longer. It balances extremely well and is barely noticeable when installed on the end of the gun. Now, I could have saved a little bit of weight if I stuck with direct thread, but as you guys know, I'm a big fan of tri-lug. So on the rifle, I'm using a Silencer Co. 5/8x24 9mm tri-lug mount. It's got an excellent lockup with the Resilient Suppressor's tri-lug adapter and no perceptible shift in accuracy with the Lithium suppressor. So as a whole, this Smith & Wesson 1854 Stealth Hunter rifle with the Midwest Industries stock and handguard, the Primary Arms LPVO, and the Otter suppressor is an absolute joy to run. 357 Magnum feels powerful and visceral, and Suppress 38 Special is peaceful, quiet, and smooth. On top of that, I think the whole setup just looks incredible to me. I love the modern space cowboy style trend that's come up in recent years, and I'm really happy to finally have an example of my own. The only negative I can really say about this setup is it is heavy. It weighs about 9 pounds and 12 ounces without the suppressor, and just over 10 pounds with the suppressor. Now that's quite a bit of rifle to sling around, especially when doing a bunch of lever flips in freezing temperatures. Now the weight really wasn't too bad on the range because it does balance well under fire, and a lot of that weight definitely could be saved with a lighter red dot setup, for example. But that LPVO is kind of a vibe though, so I don't know. I think I'll be keeping this one set up just like this for now. Then finally, we have the Smith & Wesson 327 TRR8 Revolver. This thing is pretty sick, guys. It's got an 8-round cylinder with detachable top and bottom Picatinny rails for accessories. I threw a spare Trijicon RMR that I had laying around on top, and I think it looks and functions great with this setup. This is actually my first time shooting a revolver with a red dot. The rail is a little bit high here, so it did take some getting used to, but once I did, it was super fun and definitely an advantage from a speed and accuracy perspective. Now, the only thing that I swapped out here was the pistol grip. I really like the texture on the grip that comes from the factory, but the finger grooves just really don't fit my hands at all if I want to get a high grip on the gun. So I swapped it out for this Hogue rubber grooveless grip, and it feels excellent. I do sort of wish that it had the texture of the stock grip, but it actually didn't bother me at all under live fire. It was very comfortable. Now, Smith & Wesson actually makes my favorite revolvers. I've had this 686 Plus for years now, and it's just about the perfect size for me. This one is an L-frame model, which is basically their mid-size, but the Tactical 327 TRR8 is a larger N-frame model. It's kind of weird actually, because in pictures by itself, the proportions make it look like it's maybe going to be the same size as the 686, but it's actually way bigger. And this definitely came into play when trying to find a holster for my range day footage. Although there seem to be plenty of holsters out there that fit the gun itself, I really couldn't find much of anything that would fit the full setup with the rails and optic. So I think a custom holster would probably be the move if you wanted to run this revolver with all the goodies installed. Now, despite being larger, the scandium frame actually keeps the TRR8 impressively light. I was a little worried that it might actually be too light and end up being snappy when I was reading the weight on the spec sheet, but with the 2 rails and optic installed, it's actually slightly heavier than the 686 Plus. So I didn't end up losing any of that nice recoil absorbing weight with the TRR8, and the larger grip and frame combined with the optic actually made it shoot softer and faster than the 686 Plus overall. But the biggest reason that I'm a fan of revolvers, guys, is for the trigger. And believe it or not, I'm actually not talking about the ultralight single action trigger, which is incredible, but I'm talking about that big, heavy, double action revolver pull. Because on a well-tuned Smith & Wesson, especially like this TRR8 from the Performance Center, although the double action pull is still pretty heavy, you get a really smooth pull with pretty much no stacking at all. This is one of my favorite ways to work on my grip and trigger pull with any handgun platform. If you can dry fire a modern revolver in double action and have zero movement in your sights when the trigger breaks, that's a strong indicator that your grip and trigger pull are on the right track. Now do a bunch of dry and live fire practice with a double action revolver and then switch back over to your semi-auto pistol of choice, and there's a good chance that the trigger pull will end up feeling easier and cleaner, and your accuracy and speed may very well improve too. That's my favorite use case for modern revolvers. Aside from being just fun, practical, powerful, and nostalgic, I think they're also an excellent training tool that can help improve your skills significantly with other platforms as well. So that's my review of a modern tactical pair of 357s, guys. I absolutely love how both of these setups came out. They're just so much fun to run. Now, I had a blast making this video, and I would love to continue making more content like this in the future. Now, don't worry, my PCC, rifle, handgun, and shotgun content isn't going anywhere, but if you want to see more videos like this from me in the future, let me know down in the comments below. So that's going to be all for today, guys. I've got a ton of reviews on the way, including more PCCs, ARs, AKs, handguns, and shotguns. So remember to like and subscribe, ring the bell, stay tuned, and thanks for stopping by.